All right, guys, it's week 11, 12, 13, 7, 10, 20. I don't know. There's been so many weeks. I've lost counts. But one thing is for sure the regular season ended tonight.
It did. It did end.
And it ended on a high note thanks to Spanky Watts.
Yeah, yeah. Hanley got a big, kind of a runaway win against Clay Central tonight. It was 50-14. Hanley leading in the fourth quarter, and then a couple of late touchdowns from Clay Central. It was 50-29. But man, Hanley, they're rolling. They lost the first couple of games of the year, and then they've rebounded and won 8 in a row, and won a very tough region with Leeds and Montford being in that region. And tonight, Spanky Watts went over 100 yards and had 60 yards receiving. Rhett Fettner threw for 246 yards, a couple touchdown passes, and then Malik Meadows had a couple of big catches and an interception. So they're rolling. They've got Larry Strain too. It's probably their secret weapon. So they're looking pretty good heading into the playoffs. And Clay Central's a little beat up, but they got a chance, I think, to make a run too. Bad thing for Hanley is I think they're going to have to face UMS Wright in the second round. So that 4A South is pretty tough.
Right. Favorite thing about your game was when I had an NDSU media guy follow me. He quote tweeted Will Street, was like, "Thank goodness there's still hope for America." There's a kid in Alabama named Spanky, and I lost on the sidelines at Sachs Weaver.
Yeah, I did too.
So Weaver ran out to a 21-7 lead over Sachs. Paul Hubbard threw for 3 first-half touchdowns, and then LaDerek Bell leads the Wildcats back in the third quarter to tie at 21-all going to the fourth. Chris Lemon blocks the punt, and Paul Hubbard falls on it in the end zone for Weaver, and Tyree Carl has a late touchdown. I think both of these teams are still, even though Sachs is young and Weaver's kind of Jekyll and Hyde, they can make noise.
Mm-hmm.
Next week in the playoffs, Rodney Reddick goes for 177 tonight, 2 touchdowns. Paul Hubbard throws for 133. Tyreek goes for 106. I love numbers. I can throw them off the top of my head. Dalton Hamby had an interception. But more importantly, Oxford and Piedmont went to 10-0 for the first time in a while, right?
Yeah,
at least for Oxford.
Yeah, well, Oxford, it's their first official undefeated season in a while. They had some wins they had to forfeit in 2007. But it's a big year for Oxford, bounce back year. They didn't even make playoffs last year, so
nope.
They're rolling right now. Kind of seems like they're peaking at the right time, and I think they got a chance to make some noise. And then Piedmont's, they're Piedmont.
Well,
can't say much more than they're Piedmont.
Yeah, they should be playing for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
A couple more weeks on top of what they already have.
At least. So.
Donahoe drops to Woodland.
Yeah.
Anniston drops to Fort Payne.
Yeah.
I don't really know who else played. Jacksonville lost to the bye week. JCA lost to the bye week. Man, it's so much easier when you have like a piece of paper on the table. I don't.
Spring Garden
will beat Pleasant Valley.
Yeah. So Pleasant Valley. Early. So it's pretty good for them. And then Welborn ended their season on a high note last night.
We had games last night.
Hatchie, finished their season.
Finished their regular season.
Yeah,
they're going to host next week for the first time in about 10, 14 years.
Yeah. So.
Munford lost to Cordova, even though Avery Harris didn't play. He should be back next week for when the Lions travel in the playoffs. I don't know. You got anything? What was your biggest takeaway from the Strain Train tonight?
Well, just that they're peaking at the right time and that they have so many weapons. I mean, it's not just it's not just Spanky Watts and Rhett Fettner and Malik Meadows. They've got a really good defensive line. They've got some other guys. And I tell you another thing I took away from Clay Central is Davin Flanord can catch a football. He had 2 really big catches. That kind of really kept the score, kept them in, and it led to 2 touchdowns. One was a touchdown catch, and the other one led to a touchdown. He's got some good basketball players.
Right.
He's getting some looks from colleges. He impressed me.
Right. All right. And we'll see you guys next week.